It's like driving a Kia, which is a perfectly fine, reliable car, and then getting into a Maserati. It takes you, when your hormones are at the end of perimenopause and in menopause, they're at a very low baseline. Putting in a pellet gives you a very high dose of hormones. You have no control over the release, and you are not able to remove them for months. So I have had many women in my practice come to me over the years who they went to see a provider, and the provider talked them into pellets. They lost hair on their heads but grew it out of their chins, and they gained an average of 10 pounds, were feeling very enraged, and developed an enlarged clitoris, which sounds fun, but trust me, it's not. When you're hypersexual, it's very uncomfortable. It's not fun. I would only send my worst enemy to and tell them to get pellets. And even then, I don't think I would. Injectables are better because they only last about a week in your system. But again, they're far more expensive. I think about what is going to work long term in a world where you're in your 40s or 50s listening to this, and you're going to live another 40 to 50 years. If you're on hormones the rest of your life, they have to be financially sustainable too. Okay. So right now, estrogen patches, oral progesterone, estring and femring are covered under insurance. Vaginal estrogen covered under insurance. Men's testosterone is covered under insurance, but it's not dosed for a woman. It comes in like a ketchup packet. So you have to dose, I recommend people empty the packet into a container and then take like a syringe of, a pea-sized amount and then squirt that out on yourself and rub it in your skin. But again, the dosing is not precise. And so if you want it precise, you have to get it compounded, which is out of pocket, can be expensive. But you are getting at least the proper dosage. Okay. So finding a hormone literate doctor, having someone who's going to spend time with you. Now, a lot of women say, what if I want to go through insurance? It's too expensive for me to go through a provider. In that case, you're going to need to be quite the advocate for yourself. Some GYNs and general providers really do know about hormones, and even endocrinologists really do know about hormones. They're hip to it. But in that case, arrive educated and informed. Number one, show your list of symptoms. Say, hey, I'm pretty sure I'm in perimenopause. These are the symptoms I'm having. Now, your doctor may automatically say, you're too young. That can't possibly be true, which is not true because it's happening to you, right? Number two, a lot of providers will say, well, hormones cause cancer. I'm not going to prescribe that because their literature is still not up to date. And I'm very thrilled to say I'm going to be speaking at the first of its kind Health and Human Services conference in Washington, D.C. And I'm going to be on a panel talking all about hormones because we want this to get across mainstream channels. So if your doctor says hormones cause cancer, say, I'm curious, can you show me the studies that prove it? Because there are no studies that prove it. The studies have been done with synthetic hormones. That Women's Health Initiative was done with synthetic estrogens and progestins. Even though that study used conjugated equine estrogens, this was urine derived from estrogen derived from the urine of pregnant horses. Even that study showed benefits and protective effects against cancer from the estrogens. And we know this because there have been additional studies done with synthetic estrogens where women still showed benefit. The problem is the synthetic progestins, as I've mentioned. So regardless of that, you can be smarter than your doctor and say, from the research I've done, there isn't a single study showing that hormones cause cancer. In fact, there is a 60% reduction in breast cancer risk when bioidentical hormones are used. You can bring my book, See You Later Ovulator, into your provider's office. You can give it to your provider and say, I have research studies in the back of the book that show they're safe and effective. Number three, you could say, How about you let me try hormones for 3 months? I would really like to start with progesterone the second half of my cycle. The FDA has already approved these hormones, and even though it's not taught in medical school, these hormones are FDA approved. Would you please prescribe me? And then I would like to do some blood tests to follow up and see how I'm feeling.